The light fades with death's cold embrace. You've already been zipped and tagged. Struggle as you might, it will not help. No one can break out of the body bag. Here to oversee the autopsy, your hosts, Chris Thomas and Broke Rider Dave.
Welcome to Body Bag Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Broke Rider Dave, and with me is Chris Thomas.
What's going on, everybody?
And today we have a special top 10 because in almost every horror movie, there are death scenes and there are kills.
Not this season is not evident of that. I think we've had maybe one or two kills of the movies this season.
So to make it up to you guys, I am going to give you my list of top 10 kills.
Top 10 on-screen movie deaths, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, so this is cool. You know, I like this dynamic of me bringing in the negativity and you bringing in the positivity in terms of top 10s. I think it's a nice balance. Anxious to see if I know any of these. Are these in any particular order or
I'm gonna go from 10 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And on this list is a lot of Wes Craven, actually.
Oh, that makes sense.
If you guys know me, you know I love Wes Craven movies. Number 10, I'm going with Glenn from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Starting off with Wes Craven.
Exactly. Glenn, played by Johnny Depp, his first role.
I have to keep reminding myself that he's in the Wes Craven or in the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I mean it's a very creative death.
It's arguably the most famous.
Yeah, of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I mean, he get pulled through his bed. You don't really see that much Freddy scene. You just see him get pulled through the bed, and then he's liquefied, basically.
It's cool seeing that shot, knowing that they had to film it with it being upside down.
Yeah.
Upside down room, and then just pump gallons of blood down. Promoted this before, but there's a Netflix show called The Movies That Made Us, and Nightmare on Elm Street is one of them, and they talk about that scene, and that's a good.
I believe they said they only had one shot to take this too, so
I believe so. Yeah,
so that they got a great shot. I mean, the way they filmed a lot of things in that movie was kind of creative. Kind of the way they had Wes Craven in the first kill of the movie. Wes Craven's kind of strapped in the chair and the room rotates around him.
Mm-hmm. And that's number 10. So starting off, number 10 is arguably one of the more famous, not just Wes Craven, but just horror movie scenes in general. So
yeah, I mean,
interesting to see where this goes. Starting off strong.
I mean, some of these scenes I just think are cool, and some are like deeply impactful for me.
Oh yeah,
bonds you build with characters.
Well, this is an opinion-based list, so.
So number 9, Julius Gall in Jason Takes Manhattan. Dude tries to throw hands with Jason and gets his head punched off.
That arguably probably one of the Freddy is known for having some of the more comedic like death scenes, stuff like that scene or that movie death is hilarious.
Yeah,
no blood, just a guy gets his head punched off.
Yeah, and I take a lot of heat for this when I say Jason Takes Manhattan, one of my favorite Jason movies, but
I'm not gonna sit here and judge you, well, not to your face anyway, of what you like in terms of movies, but I can understand why people don't like that movie.
Yeah,
I mean, Jason spent half the movie walking underwater to get to the boat and then is defeated by water at the very end.
No storyline in any Jason movie is really all that great or coherent, so let's be honest, we all just love them for the kills.
Yes, that's why I'm saying I'm not gonna sit here and judge. I'm like, hockey mask wearing undead dude. I'm just here to watch a slasher movie. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean,
show me some creative kills.
But I mean, come on. He was underwater walking towards the boat and he was fine, and then gets water thrown on him at the very end and somehow defeats him.
Tell the writers were like, okay, so how do we defeat him?
Well,
fuck it, water, man.
Well, maybe it's just that awful New York sewage water.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe this was shot in New York, but
probably not. I don't think they have that type of funding for this movie. Number 8, I'm gonna go with the unicorn goring a worker in the cabin in the woods.
Oh, good. I was like, the unicorn. I was like, unicorn. I thought the unicorn was the name of the movie for a second, and then I was like, oh no, the only unicorn death I know of is from Cabin in the Woods.
I mean, that whole scene with all the monsters coming out in that movie is incredible. But just a random unicorn goring a guy against the wall, that's something I expect to see when I went and saw that movie theater. characters.
That's a movie that has so many deaths, or so many deaths to choose from. And that's your favorite out of all of them?
Yeah, I think it's just, unicorns, as they're usually portrayed as being super peaceful. Everybody loves them. That unicorn was out for fucking blood.
Take this, you bronies.
And as you guys know, we are fans of Cabin in the Woods on this podcast.
We need to have a special episode just for that movie.
We really do. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't reviewed it yet, but we will get there.
I'll organize a special episode for that one.
Yeah. Now it's time to jump to a movie we have reviewed. And I think it does kind of hold a special place in my heart because it was my very first kill of the movie when Kate in Fear Street got her head stuck through the bread slicer.
Yeah, it's that one was definitely a shame because I feel like she should have been the main character.
It made me sad because she was probably my favorite character in the movie.
She was the most interesting.
She really was, yeah.
I liked her personality, and I went ahead and I said, I think in my movie couples, it wasn't movie couples, it was one of the hashtag Chris hates. I think it was because I said I didn't
Chris
buy
hates couples. I think you didn't like the
no, I don't
the
think
main
it was,
couple.
I don't think it was that one was Chris hates couples. It was I'm pretty sure it was something else because I remember what my top 5 were, and because Chris hates couples was top 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen to figure out which it was, but yeah, I think she would have been a better lead than the.
Yeah, if they would have made that story about that character, it would have been a lot more interesting in the movie. I mean, it's still a great story overall.
It's still fun, yeah. I still enjoyed it. But yeah, good. That was that would have been my top death for that series too. Good.
Yeah, and it goes back to episode number 1. You guys want to check that out? We reviewed the Fear Street trilogy, so
back when we were fresh-faced young boys,
very fresh into the podcasting. Next is Roy in Final Destination 2.
Is this number 6 or 7?
6.
Final Destination. That's another movie we need to review.
Yeah, has a lot of creative kills, but seeing someone get sliced apart by barbed wire blowing in the wind, pretty sweet.
Man, I think the first one is the one I've watched the least because I got introduced to Final Destination with the third one.
See, I feel like the second one was the one I saw first.
Second one is the reason why I never drive behind big trucks, especially ones carrying logs.
Yeah.
And the third one is how I got introduced to it. But then I know the least about number 1 because I've only seen it like maybe once and then bits and pieces of it.
See, I couldn't remember which Final Destination it was, where the guy he was escaping on the fire escape and then he slipped on spaghetti and had the fire escape all through his eye.
I don't remember
that one too. Yeah,
I don't remember that either. So I don't know which one it is either.
It was the guy. He won Lotto. I know it's in one of the Final Destinations. I just don't remember which one. But that's also a great death from the series. I mean, that series is basically people getting killed in the most ridiculous way possible. But
you know what I think we need to start doing as a side thing for this is pick a franchise and then do like 10-minute episodes of reviewing each movie in a franchise.
That would be a lot of fun.
Maybe that'll be treats for next season.
We could do like Final Destination, Saw, Paranormal Activity,
or a TV series.
That'd be really good too. Yeah.
All right, so Final Destination.
I mean, that's my favorite one of the series. I'm sure people have other ones, and if you guys do, make sure to comment at us on Twitter or Instagram. Let us know. And now we're into the top 5.
Top 5.
This death isn't really like a great death scene. It's just a character that's getting killed off. It is a character I love so much, and I'm so sad to see her die.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Nancy Thompson in Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they brought her back, and then they killed her. Like, she's one of my favorite final girls, and to see her die was pretty rough.
So is she kind of like an honorable mention? Like you hate that she died, but you feel like you had to put her on there?
Exactly, yeah.
Out of respect.
Out of respect, I mean. And that's why, not a lot of people don't really like the sequels for the Nightmare on Elm Street, because they're so weird and do things like that.
Well, let me ask you, do you prefer comedic Freddy, or do you prefer intimidating Freddy?
I think both has their place. Like, there's some great times with comedic Freddy, but the first movie was Freddy at his best. Because he was intimidating, and there was some comedy to him, too.
But eventually it just turned into just Freddy just being, doing one-liners and jokes.
Yeah, up until, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah, which he returned back to form.
And that movie was way before its time. Such an incredible movie.
A lot of people say that because I think the Nightmare on Elm Street had gotten progressively, less and less score-wise, and then New Nightmare came out and boosted it right back up, and was like, oh, it was different, and it was also a return to form.
Yeah, and I mean, you see the problems with the series. And the second one, they barely even mentioned the first movie. And in the third movie, it seemed like maybe they'd go back to it, and they were going to make Patricia Arquette the new final girl.
The third one was in the Asylum, correct?
Yeah, Dream Warriors.
That one has my favorite death out of the Nightmare on Elm Street ones is when the kid is being marionetted by his tendons up to the top of the roof and then got them cut and then fell off the roof. That one's probably my favorite. Just because I'm like, man, he's being led marionette wise by his tendons is just such a. And then he just gets. I don't know. I just really like that. That's probably my favorite out of all of the series.
Yeah, that's true. But it's the fact that they made Cheshire Cat like the new Final Girl, and they didn't have her signed on to do the fourth one, so they had to recast her in the fourth one, and it went downhill from there.
What could have been?
What could have been, yeah. But the original is still one of my all-time favorites. Next is kind of a deep cut. I don't think a lot of people have seen this movie because it's like a sci-fi original movie.
I love me some sci-fi original.
Me too. So this one's from Truth or Dare. Like I said, it's a sci-fi original, not the
movie.
Not the one that came out on from Blumhouse Productions.
I probably don't know this one then.
So Addison, when she refused to play the game and she tried to escape the house, she ends up like tripping on her way out and just gets impaled on a pole. And it's such a random death because you really were expecting someone to die at that moment. And I think it was at that moment in the movie it made the characters realize, oh, this isn't really a game anymore. It's a death that's needed to kick the movie into high gear.
I might need to go and check that out. Just real quick, just definitely need to shout out original sci-fi original movies.
Yeah, this one is on Netflix.
Classic I've seen so many sci-fi. Back in the day when you'd be flipping through channels, I would just come across the sci-fi channel, and then
they usually had something good on.
They're never the best quality, but they always grab my attention. I mean, I wouldn't know about Tremors if it wasn't for sci-fi originals, and Tremors is one of my favorite creature movies.
Tremors is a great movie. Yeah, sci-fi, I mean, they put out some great movies that people sleep on. Everyone just thinks Sharknado, and they're like, oh, they all have to be
a lot of that's another reason why I like, because they will have ridiculous movies like that, which sometimes I just want a goofy movie I can make fun of, and sci-fi original movies will have that too. But I think sci-fi also had I think it was called Scare Tactics.
Yeah, I think that sounds familiar.
Which was hosted originally by Shannon Doherty, and then eventually I think oh my god, what's his name? He's a comedian from 30 Rock. Oh, what's his freaking name? Oh, it's gonna bug the crap out of me. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan, yep. You said that right as it came up.
Tracy Morgan, I think, eventually hosted it. But
Shannon Doherty, Stephen Baldwin, then Tracy Morgan.
I didn't know Stephen Baldwin hosted at one point. I just remember Shannon Doherty at one point. But yeah, I used to watch that show all the time. I think that was Sci-Fi, if I'm not mistaken. But just shout out to Sci-Fi original movies.
I mean, The Magicians is one of my favorite shows. That's a Sci-Fi original show.
I saw the first. Oh, I saw most of the show. I haven't seen the last season.
That season was pretty good.
Anybody who hasn't seen Magicians, stop listening for a second. I saw all the way up to Q's death.
Okay, yeah, that was sad. That was a sad death. I'm actually currently reading the books too. So everyone, you should go check out that show. I feel like it's kind of like an adult version of Harry Potter. That's the best way to put it.
This is you can imagine Harry Potter universe, but this is like the American schools of the wizarding world, and it's like the fraternity, the college years of drinking, drugs, and unprotected sex.
But they didn't find out they were wizards until they got to college. All right, now we are to number 3, and that would be Randy from Scream 2.
Yeah, poor Randy.
I mean, it was one of those death scenes that kind of broke the rules because he was murdered in broad daylight.
Broad daylight.
Yeah.
He was the comedic relief.
Yeah. He was the person that the audience was supposed to like imprint on, like the horror movie know-it-all.
Yeah, and we never really see his death, but we know it wasn't good.
No. You just kind of see the knife go up and down, and then you see the aftermath after he is discovered.
I know that when that movie came out, probably it had hurt a lot of people, especially probably watching it in the theaters, like, no, because I imagine that a lot of people probably thought that but I mean, that's what Scream does, is that it takes your expectations and then messes with them, because I believe everybody probably thought, all right, well, he was the comedic relief in the first one and he survived, they're not going to kill and he's a fan favorite.
They're not going to kill him off in the second movie.
They're not going to kill him off in the second movie, and then they do. So
yeah, I mean, that's what's so great great about the franchise and Wes directed it. Anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean that's what the series has been known for, is taking what you think you know about horror movies and then like, well, I mean, maybe some of it'll happen, maybe some of it won't.
Yeah, and I mean, since we showed sci-fi, I do have to shout out MTV for the Scream TV series. Did a pretty good job with it.
I didn't know that Scream had a TV series.
Yeah, there's 3 seasons of it on Netflix. I thought it wasn't going to be that good, but it was. I mean,
well, you don't count because you're biased towards Scream.
That's actually very true, yeah. As you guys can tell by the end of this list, I am
It's nothing but Scream. The last 3 is going to be nothing but Scream and
yeah, that's basically what it is.
Is it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so all right, which one is number 2 then?
Number 2, I'm gonna kind of have to give a spoiler alert, 'cause this is from the newest movie.
Fine. All right.
I'm sorry. When I made the list, I kind of thought you saw the movie.
No, well, so be it. Go ahead.
And that is when Dewey gets killed.
Damn it! Hate you. Why would you say that?
I know. Sorry. Dewey was probably my favorite character of the OG3. I understand why the directors made that decision.
I mean, I'm disappointed, but not as intensely as that. But I mean, when we were talking with Ryan Showers, we were talking about if Dewey ends up dying, I hope that he at least goes out in a decent way. Does he?
He does. I'm not going to describe it for you. It is they do him justice in his death scene.
That's a bummer. Dewey was my guy.
I mean, I get it because, they got a lot of flack from Scream 4 for playing it safe and not taking one of the main characters out. So,
rest in peace, Dewey. You will be missed.
You will definitely be missed, Dewey. Yeah, that one just hit the heart.
That disappoints me more than Randy.
Yeah, I almost, started crying.
Dewey was the heart for that series for me.
Yeah, he was like Dewey, man. I mean, they're not going to have another character like that, but as they say, the show must go on. I actually really enjoyed the new cast, so that's my one wish for the new Scream, is that they made the new cast interesting, so they could keep going on with the new cast. So I'm excited to see what Scream 6 has in store for us.
So now, what's your number 1? Is it Billy?
No, it is the death of Casey Becker in the original Scream movie. Because you got to put yourself back in the time frame, and how they marketed this movie was
right on the front.
She was marketed as the main character because Drew Barrymore at the time and still is a really big star.
She was marketed as like the one person who you think is not going to die.
Yeah, and they kill her off in the first 10 minutes.
I mean, that is a brilliant marketing move, though.
Yeah, talk about taking a big chance too, and it paid off.
Yeah, that could have easily gone the other direction, and people would have been like, "This is awful. Why would you even market it like that?" Could have easily gone the other way, but I'm glad people appreciated it.
Yeah, like, oh, no, once it happens, you're like, oh, no one is safe in this movie.
Anybody could die.
Anybody could go at any time. And her death is pretty brutal. I mean, at the point where she almost gets away and she tries to scream for her parents, but she can't because she just kind of got choked for a good 30 seconds.
And I bet you that freaked a whole bunch of people out who ever just stay home alone now, get a random call.
I mean, it was the kill that kicked off the entire franchise that I still love to this day. 25 years ago came out, 26. And that is my list.
So you actually went the other way of what I probably would have done with my list.
Okay.
In terms of, no, I'm saying it's a good thing. In terms of, I probably would, if somebody said like your top 10 movie deaths, I probably would have gone for the most over the top deaths I could think of.
Okay, yeah.
Yours were pretty tame, but is significant to the storyline.
Yeah.
I would have gone more visual rather than story based.
I mean, I do have some visual ones here.
Yeah, I mean, the Unicorn one is fun, and the Freddy one is good.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just it's interesting to see the directions that we would have.
Yeah.
We both would have went.
I love a good death when it adds to the story. As much as I love, just watching Jason randomly hack people for no reason. Enjoy a little bit more when something's added to the story from the deaths.
Solid list. Would you say? I'd say about probably half of them were Wes Craven.
Wes Craven directed.
Well, franchise rather.
Half of them. Well, I mean, because you had 2 Freddy and 3 Scream, so that's half of them right there.
Half of them were Wes Craven franchise.
Yeah, only 3 were directed from Wes Craven. He didn't direct New Scream or the third Nightmare on Elm Street.
But either way, good list. That was fun. Good conversation. So good top 10. So the next one, I believe, is. Do you have a Chris hates for me?
I do. So Chris, I know you love good practical effects.
Love me some good practical effects.
I know you hate nothing more than bad practical effects.
Well,
that just ruins a movie for you right there.
It depends what you mean by bad practical effects.
10 horror movies with the worst practical effects.
I was gonna say it would have been a lot. That's gonna be a hard list for me to think of because even practical effects, I could probably. You would have been better off. You would have been better off saying your top 10 least favorite CGI computer generated effects. Then I'd have been like, okay. So my least favorite, so Chris hates.
Practical effects, yeah.
Well, it's gonna have to be Chris hates bad effects.
No, if we're gonna do that, Chris hates. Yeah, let's go. Chris hates CGI. So we know you love practical effects, and I don't want to have to put you through watching terrible practical effects.
Well, I don't. Well, give me an example of what you would consider a bad practical effect.
Can't really think of one off the top of my head. I mean, it's one of those things like if you see it, you know it. Like low budget horror.
So, all right. So
But let's just do a 10 worst CGI.
So Chris hates bad CG.
Yeah.
All right, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
There's so many to choose from, but that will be for. I'll try to have my list by next week, and yeah, this was a good one. So
that's fun.
So I should probably give you what your next top 10 is gonna eventually be.
Yeah.
I might need a second to think because I forgot that I was gonna have to give you one. You don't do hate because I was about to say what was your top 10 hated? What's the top 10 things you hate about Wes Craven? No, but
Wes Craven's top 10 worst films.
No, but you don't do hate. Yours is your top 10 favorite. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say, how about your top 10? What top 10s have you done so far? You've done foreign horror,
and then yeah, this would be my third one. What was the one in the middle? Because foreign horror was the first one.
It's gonna bug you.
It is.
You're gonna have to go
body horror.
Body horror.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to go on Spotify and search that up.
All right, I got yours. Yours is gonna be your top 10 favorite creature feature.
Creature features. Okay, that's gonna be fun to make.
So you get to watch some good creature features, and I get to look up some bad CGI. All right,
Tremors counts as creatures, right?
Yep.
All right.
But that will be treats for another episode. Thanks everybody for joining us for another top 10, and hopefully we'll see you in the future for some more. Well, join us
listening,
for yeah. You'll be listening to me lose my mind over bad effects.
Yeah. All right, everybody, have a good week.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to Body Bag Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment as to what you'd like to hear us review, or any horror movie topics you'd like to hear us rant and rave about.
And while you're at it, you can find us on Twitter at BodyBagPod and on Instagram at BodyBagPodcast.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.